Season on the line, 4th and 11. Butka looking downfield, throwing. Incomplete, broken up at the 10-yard line. And Old Bridge is headed to the NJS IAA Central Jersey Group 5 Championship game.
There's one in the flat. Good catch that time by Ransom. Ransom with a lot of room. And a good block by Delonzo down the field. And Ransom is gone. 57 yards to the house. 2-2.
Swung on and miss. Strike 3. St. James Smithtown has done it. They are the 2025 New York State Little League Baseball Tournament champions.
Drops back, throws all the way to his right, has a man down the field, and he's got him! First play of the drive, touchdown, New York Green Wave!
Sanioki's season on the line. Goal to go from the 2. Kyles looks to run with it, pitches it to Sip, he grabs it, he's in for the touchdown!
The final 25, and they're neck and neck. Kane looks like they have just a dash of a lead. Salisbury taking first. What a race!
Live from the Joseph T. St. Lawrence Sports Complex in Hillburn, New York, the PDF Sports Network is proud to welcome you into coverage of New York Bears football. Tonight, the Bears face a familiar foe in an interleague matchup as they host the Brooklyn Pharaohs. Good evening, everybody. My name is Joe Foreman, joined on the call by Joe Calabrese. And Joe, quite a bit has changed since the last time we covered this New York Bears team. The Colonial Conference in the NFL, which the Pharaohs remain a part of, has decreased in size, and with that, the Bears have made the move to the Elite Football Alliance. The Pharaohs remain in the Northeast Football League and take on the Bears this evening in a matchup of 2 former EFA champions.
Well, Joe, this is there's certainly plenty of history between these two teams, and some of that story has been written here on the PDF Sports Network. It was over 4 years ago now that the Bears and the Pharaohs met in the first ever broadcast here on PDF back in July of 2022. And Brooklyn went on to win the EFA championship that season. The following year, it was the Bears that took the EFA title, a championship that New York will be chasing once again this year. Their latest stint in the EFA got off to a strong start with a decisive 23-6 win over the New York Bandits, a team that is a 2-time defending EFA champion. A win like that certainly puts the Bears at the forefront of the championship conversation, but they have another tough game on the schedule here, Joe, as we have the graphic here on the screen, as they take on the Pharaohs in interleague competition.
Joe Foreman and Joe Calabrese back with you here on the PDF Sports Network just in time for kickoff between the New York Bears and the Brooklyn Pharaohs. The Bears are part of the EFA, taking on the Pharaohs in an interleague matchup. However, these games will count in the EFA standings. That is something to keep in mind. And, Joe, we touched on it during the pregame. These two teams plenty familiar with one another.
Yes, absolutely. And we were here in that first game, and we got to look at the Bears. And it was quite a couple weeks ago now.
More like a couple of months. Our first look.
What was that, in June?
It was 2 months ago.
Wow, I think so. I think it was June. We're approaching late August, the end of the summer. It's gorgeous out over here. Beautiful day here at the complex here. But, yeah, we get another look at this Bears team and this Pharaohs team. It should be a good game.
We always have a blast covering the Bears here in Hillburn. Certainly one of the best venues in all of semi-pro football. A great game day atmosphere. And I have to admit, Joe, I'm a bit partial to the accommodations for the broadcasters here. The sun has set along the far sideline, which is always nice, and I think the delayed start certainly helped in terms of the sunlight being in our faces, so that's always good.
I was going to say, that's an important component over here. It was in our faces for the better part of 45 minutes. We've been here about an hour or so. Again, the hospitality is always great as the New York Bears are getting set to start on offense at their own 45-yard line as they're very close to midfield.
Tyshawn Lovelace Young at quarterback. He lines up in the shotgun to get us started. 4 receivers on the field for New York. Their opening drive begins at their own 45-yard line. The official is counting down the play clock as Loveless Young takes the snap, throws over the middle, complete. And that's a nice completion for a first down and more. A pair of broken tackles and out across the 40 and down to the 35-yard line of Brooklyn was Christian Grizzle. Grizzle making some nice moves after that catch, broke a pair of tackles, has a first down pickup, and a gain all the way down to the Brooklyn 35 with a flag out at the end of the play. His helmet did come off.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's see what the flag is first. While we do that, we'll get a quick look at the opening play here, Joe.
Bears were given some time before coming off their sideline ahead of that opening snap. It was a bit unusual. There was a bit of a delay ahead of their first play. But the pass is complete to Grizzle, and it is a personal foul, I would presume, for a face mask, as the call was made as we attended to the replay. But the Bears are going to move up all the way to the 20. A 15-yard personal foul against Brooklyn has the Bears in the red zone after just one offensive snap. Once again, Loveless Young in the gun. Pre-snap motion to the right side of the formation. That's Nigel Swift. New York looking to throw here. Loveless Young breaks free. He's down close to the 10-yard line. And that's going to be a pickup of 8 yards on the first down quarterback run. Loveless Young gave his first and second read maybe a quick look, but he took off almost immediately after that ball was snapped. A pickup of 8 on first down, and Bears could not have asked for a much better start here.
No, and one thing that they're going to have to do here, protect the football. In that instance, they were able to get 8 yards on that quarterback run play. But there were defenders trailing. So protecting the football, turnovers, that was a big point of emphasis the first time we were here, Joe. Let's see if the Bears can do that over the course of 60 minutes.
Trips to the left and a handoff. Now, we don't have a number 35 on our New York roster, but he gets the carry and is wrapped up in the offensive backfield. Not every Bear had a number assigned ahead of this game, but on the roster we have running backs Kyer Tillery, Joey Ward, and I believe those are the 2 halfbacks that we have on our New York roster.
So it seems like there was quite a loss on that play of at least 5 or 6. Am I right?
Yeah, that's a big loss on the play. That one blown up in the backfield. Officially, it's going to be a loss of 6 yards. 3rd down and 8 coming up for New York here. I hear what you hear, Joe. We lost one of our channels, so we have to take this out and reinsert. Hopefully that helps us out. All right.
What I was going to say, though, is from our vantage point here in the press box, for everybody who is listening and watching at home, that left lower corner of the field, which might be a little bit difficult for us.
It's obstructed.
It is obstructed a little bit.
Yeah, the tents along the sideline partially obstructing that view as timeout was called ahead of a 3rd and 8. This is that range where you are highly unlikely to see a kick, which effectively makes this 4-down territory if you're New York. I don't think there's any pickup that would not yield a first down that would cause them to kick. But whenever we think we know something, Joe, these teams always find a way to surprise us, usually in a good way, sometimes not so good, but usually it's a good way.
No, I totally agree with that. And so who get the timeout? Was it the Bears?
I don't know. I did not see a signal from the official.
I was waiting for the signal here so we could officially put that up. I would imagine
I'm going to guess it was the Pharaohs because they're still talking.
Okay.
But that is a shot in the dark for me.
Okay. So why don't we give the Pharaohs the timeout in the event that we need to change that? We could do that later. But it is the Bears called the third. There you go. See? There you go.
I had it right,
Joe. I had it right.
Should have never doubted you.
It's a major 3rd and long play here in the first opening minutes of the game.
Important to note, Joe, I don't think they need it all here.
No, I don't think they need it all. I think this definitely could be 4-down territory.
And they will hand off on 3rd and 8. And once again, that play is blown up around the line of scrimmage. I think they got back to the line, but certainly nothing more. And that will bring up a 4th down and 8. And they will give the Bears a yard on that play, so make it 4th and 7.
Not really sure I agree with that play call coming out of the timeout, Joe. What do you think?
Well, Joe, I think if there's any indication they're going to go for it on 4th down, that play call is it. And the Pharaohs' defensive front has been challenged a couple of times on this drive, and both times they've been up to the task. 2 runs going for a combined -5 after the Bears picked up 8 yards on a quarterback scramble. That came on first down, and now it is 4th and 7, ball on the Brooklyn 17-yard line. Loveless Young once again in the shotgun, looking left. Running out of time, throws middle, and it was dropped. Nigel Swift got fingertips on it, but that ball had a bit too much on it for him to secure that in his fingertips.
Yeah, Joe, I think this ball was thrown a little bit behind the receiver.
I think that's one you have to have, but
let's see. Let's take another look at this.
It wasn't a routine catch.
No, it was not. And I think if you lead the receiver here. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, the defender is also coming in to make what would have been a clean, well-timed defensive play. So imagine the receiver was hearing footsteps a little bit.
So the Bears will turn it over on downs. Pharaohs with it at their own 17-yard line following the 4th down incompletion. Reem Williams, quarterback and captain of the Pharaohs, a name we've said many times here on PDF. He lines up in the shotgun. And we'll hand off on first down on the carry. That is Morris Hilton. Hilton tackled for a short gain on first down, perhaps a gain of 1. We'll give him 2nd and 9 on that one.
Running a draw play to start off. When we were here the first time, Joe, and we watched this Bears team, one of the biggest strengths that we kept reiterating was the strength of the defensive line play, specifically the interior of the defensive line. Took away the Green Jackets' running game. Let's see if they do the same thing for the Pharaohs.
Williams hit as he throws, incomplete.
And he had a receiver open, Joe, in between. Not really sure what kind of coverage was over there. I don't think they were in man, the Bears. It was that little soft pocket between the hash and zone. And they did have a receiver open there for the Pharaohs. And, again, a well-tipped ball, preventing that from being a big gain.
That was Richard Ehlers, the intended target on that play. He did get a hand on it, but could not bring it in. And, Joe, we are having video transmission issues on the YouTube end of things, so we're in quite a bind here at the moment as Williams looks to take off and completes. No! It's dropped down the field. Williams put the brakes on and threw downfield. Joshua Myers was there, or make that a Johnny Stewart. There are 2 number 13s on the Pharaohs roster. It is Stewart who plays wide receiver, and he had a touchdown go straight through his hands.
Yeah, Joe, and we'll get another look at this very, very quickly. I mean, he is open, and he's got daylight, and he beats his defender, and that was 6. Should have been 6.
It is 4th down and 9. We are aware of video lagging issues on the YouTube end of things. If that continues, we are probably going to have to go offline once again and reboot the connection. It is 4th down and 8 for Brooklyn. They are lining up to punt. We had our stream running throughout the entirety of pregame. And for some reason, after kickoff, we have lost that connectivity as a flag comes out. Flag going to make this a 4th down and 13 unless they picked it up. They haven't moved the football yet.
Let's see what direction they move it in.
They picked it up.
Okay.
And that one's punted straight up in the air. And the Pharaohs are going to lose a net of about 6 yards
Yeah, I was going
to. They punted. The line of scrimmage was officially the 19-yard line, and they're going to spot this one. So they did pick up a couple. I thought they scooped that up well behind the line of scrimmage, Joe. They did. Okay. The official just retrieved the ball from there.
This is Joe Calabrese here doing play-by-play. Nice little change of pace from what we usually get. Joe Foreman currently working on our internet and connectivity issues here as we have a toss play for the Bears. And they were able to get the edge, and it looks like we have a touchdown here, Joe. So the Bears are going to open the scoring. Hard to get a look at the number over there. I believe it was 28. So if this is the Bears official roster. Oh, here we go. Nigel Swift.
All right, Joe, I am going to take over at the engineering desk to monitor the internet connectivity. We're having issues right now with video pushing. However, our audio is functioning correctly. So even though the video might be coming in a bit choppy, the audio should be okay. I'm working on it. Hopefully we can stabilize the connection within the next couple of minutes. If not, then what we are going to do is record the game to our MacBook in full HD, and you and I will broadcast the audio of the game live to YouTube. As the extra point off the foot of Sturego is up and good. 7-0 New York. And Joe, how about that for a counterpunch? If you're the Bears, they drive downfield. Immediately, red zone opportunity. One snap into the game. However, they turn it over on downs. Brooklyn has a touchdown go through the fingertips of a receiver, and all of a sudden the Bears are gifted an opportunity once again in the red zone. This time they capitalize on just one play.
Just one play, and they started that drive was it in the red zone? Was it inside the 20, or was it just outside the 20 based on the previous
I believe it was just inside the 20. I think I was right about the punt for a net of about -6.
That's right. So they started that drive in the red zone, which effectively, because the Pharaohs weren't able to get the ball on the punt out of deep in their own territory, effectively, even though it's not considered a turnover, that's kind of what it was like for the Bears, and they're able to capitalize on the first play and score.
All right, so I'm getting a look at the line of scrimmage, Joe. Officially, that drive began at the Brooklyn 15-yard line.
So we are correct, and once again, we will be broadcasting the game
As
live.
of now, Joe, our connection situation is improving.
It is improving.
It is improving.
Okay.
The backlog is going down, which basically means that the lag situation is getting better. But I'm going to monitor that the rest of the way.
Okay.
I'll do my best to do play-by-play from where I'm seated, and we'll take care of the engineering component as well the best I can. But I need to monitor our situation with the internet. As of now, it says we are improving, so hopefully it stays that way.
That's right.
Again, we were fully functional for about an hour before kickoff, and it just so happens that when the game begins, the internet takes a break. Bears kick off, and the Pharaohs scoop it up. On the run back, once again, we have a pair of number 6s. I would presume that is Kareem Lawton on the run back, as the other number 6 is Richard Ehlers. So I didn't realize, Joe, on the Pharaohs roster, multiple players share a number. So on the first drive, it was Lawton who was the intended receiver on that ball that hit off his fingertips. Richard Ehlers is a defensive end for Brooklyn.
And now the offense is coming back onto the field for the Pharaohs. And under center, what do we have here? Number 1.
It's Reem Williams. So
it's Reem
Joe,
Williams.
I have the play-by-play. We'll keep the roster here, but I'll also take care of the engineering. So you have the wonderful position of color commentary without the engineering responsibility. That's an easy night's work, I think.
That is a very easy night's work.
I need to be on top of this connectivity problem. It's continuing to improve. I'm monitoring it, and it is getting better. I don't know if that's improving the video or not, so that's going to take some time. But I'm looking at a feed right now that we have, and we look good. As of now, we look good.
Okay. Well, we want to stay that way.
All right. Williams lined up in the gun. 1st and 10, Brooklyn. And it's a handoff up the middle and a broken tackle. And lunging out across the 40, lowering the shoulder, is Hilton on the run.
Nice shot by Hilton, churning his feet, keeping his feet moving. Got about 3 or 4 extra yards on the play just by keeping his feet moving.
That's going to set up a 2nd down and 4.
It seems like the Pharaohs here are going into a little bit of a hurry-up situation, Joe.
Once again, Williams in the gun. And he will hand off to Hilton again. This time the Bears right there to meet him after a pickup of 2 yards. That will bring up 3rd and 2.
3rd and short, and from what we've seen from the Pharaohs here in the first couple of plays of the game, very run-heavy, Joe. They came out on 1st down running twice on the delay. So let's see if they continue that here on 3rd and 2. And again, we've been very complimentary of the Bears' defensive line and the interior, specifically, of the defensive line in the last game. Let's see if they can get a stop here against the Pharaohs, just around midfield.
Pharaohs empty out the offensive backfield, at least initially. Now Hilton lined up alongside Williams as a flag will come out. And we'll see which way this one moves. The official's going to talk it over. We'll see if the replay gives us any clarity.
I mean, that's important because if it goes against the offense, it's 5 yards. If it goes against the defense, it's a 1st down.
Here we're going to slow it down to about a 1/4 speed. And it's against the Bears. Let's see if the replay makes that clear.
So we're going to have a fresh set of downs here as both teams are moving 5 yards. Pharaohs approaching midfield as the ball is going to be placed at the 48-yard line, their own 48-yard line, after that fresh set of downs.
Williams back in the gun. 4 receivers on the field. Brooklyn on the doorstep of plus territory as Williams throws left, and that is complete. Out across the 50-yard line for a pickup of about 4 yards. That was Lawton on the reception.
Yeah, and that's the first time on a 1st down that the Pharaohs have thrown in this game, Joe. And again, we're still in the early stages here in the 1st quarter. Officially, it's going to go for a gain of 4, like you said. For the first time, the Pharaohs have crossed midfield, and they're in the Bears' side of the field.
That's good tight coverage on the outside. And the ball got there just in time for Lawton to make a nice contested catch. This is a quick swing pass to the flat. It is complete and about 3 or 4 yards short of a 1st down on the reception. That is Dmitry Kovko Jr.
We're going to assume he's Russian. Sounds like a Russian name.
Now, don't quote me on this, Joe, but I think he may have played quarterback in the EFA before. I think.
Okay.
I think there was a Kovko Jr. who quarterbacked the former EFA, I think it was the New York Dolphins.
You're not going to get better
We've
research
covered
and
a lot of EFA.
analysis anywhere.
We've covered a lot of EFA football. Of course, the Pharaohs in the NEFL, the Bears in the EFA. But we've covered a lot of regional semi-pro football, and eventually you start to see those names repeat.
That's right.
It's a handoff to Hilton on 3rd and 2.
It's going to be very close. Looks like he got there.
He got there.
I
Oh,
think
maybe not.
Maybe he's a little short. It looked very close.
It
Looks
is
like it's going to be
very close indeed.
Looks like officially it's going to be a 4th down and 1. What I was going to say, Joe, was on the previous play, it was the first time that we saw the Pharaohs feign the run. They went play action, but on that quick swing pass to the outside to Kovko. So they went back to the run here, and they went for it. And it looks like they're going to go for it here on 4th down and short. Officially a 4th and 1 from about the 43-yard line. I think that's the right decision.
Yeah, I might argue, Joe, he got a really bad spot on that, but nonetheless, it is going to be 4th down for the Pharaohs. It's a big play in this game. New York already in front, 7-0. And Williams will keep it. He finds a crease and picks up the 1st down. Now, I have an eye like a hawk when it comes to the early movement, Joe. Look at Hilton on this play in the offensive backfield. I thought maybe he moved a bit early. Let's slow it down and get a look.
Yeah, let's get a second look
It
at
is
that.
very, very close. I think you'd have to back it up a bit more than that, but my eye caught what I thought may have been a bit of early movement. No flag, 1st down, Brooklyn, and they have it now at the Bears' 40. Williams once again in the gun. 4 receivers out there. He's looking left, time running out, and he is sacked all the way back at the 50-yard line. A loss of 10 on the play, and the Bears sack will bring up 2nd and 20.
And for the first time in the game, Joe, that interior, the Bears' defensive line playing a huge factor. And you know what? I think the offensive line for the Pharaohs has done a good job in the early portion of this game. Would you consider that a pure coverage sack?
I think the coverage played a role for sure. And, you know, Joe, we've, as I mentioned, covered a lot of Bears football over the years. And I remember a few years back, Nigel Swift with a huge interception return for a touchdown. I'm trying to remember who the opponent was in that game. I think it was the Gators. And that was back, I believe, during the 2022 season, which we talked about a bit during the pregame. But that was a part of the PDF Sports Network intro for a long time. And we spoke about it during the pregame as well. The Bears clinching a win with a late interception over the Green Jackets earlier this year. So you know that they have playmakers in this secondary, and I'm sure they contributed a bit to that sack as a flag comes out for a false start. 2nd and 25 now for Brooklyn. The Pharaohs early in this game had an opportunity to put 6 on the board. Touchdown pass that would have been went through the hands of a Johnny Stewart. A punt that followed shortly thereafter netted negative yardage, and the Bears scored on just one play.
It'll be very interesting to see what the play call here is for the Pharaoh. Would you think screen?
Not this time, as Williams finds an opening and throws deep downfield. Lawton is broken up. He went up for it. And just a bit underthrown. Great coverage as well. I believe that was Swift on the coverage. We'll have to wait until he makes his way back toward the line of scrimmage.
You know what, Joe? I think Hilton, he basically came out, and he was anticipating the throw, but he was covered. And that opened the door to go deep. And I think that's a good throw, good coverage, good football play all around. Bears defense doing a good job here. And they're forcing the Pharaohs into a predicament here on a really long 3rd and 25.
You could see it, Joe, on the replay. Lawton had a step, and I thought he was going to have that one drop down in the bucket. But at the last moment, he had to slow down a bit, and indeed it was Nigel Swift getting a hand in there and breaking that one up. A name we just mentioned. Motion man, Kovco Jr. on 3rd and 25. And it's quarterback draw, at least it appeared so. Williams breaking free toward the far sideline and will avoid any and all contact as he ducks out of bounds at the Brooklyn 48-yard line.
And now it becomes a game of field position.
That's a pickup of 3 on that play. 4th down and 22 for Brooklyn. But at the very least, you have an opportunity on a punt here to pin the Bears back deep in their own territory and perhaps get the benefit of a quick 3 and out, maybe a turnover. Anything can happen if you back an offense up in front of their own end zone. So we'll see if the Brooklyn defense and special teams can combine to get their offense another chance. Trying to make out the number on the punter's uniform for Brooklyn.
We have a flag down.
We've seen quite a few of those already.
Yes, we have.
They picked one up before. Are they picking it up again?
Looks like that might be the case.
Nope, not this time.
Not this time.
They back up Brooklyn 5. It's now 4th and 27. So Brooklyn moving in the wrong direction here after this drive got off to a very promising start. Began with a decent return, a short completion, some good plays on the ground, and very quickly they crossed midfield. But after that, this Bears defense really stiffened up and drove them in the other direction. Bears hoping for a similar result to the first punt. Not quite this time. Looks like Swift will have a chance to run it back. He plays it on a bounce, working toward the near side. This could be trouble for Brooklyn. Blocks ahead. Swift out across the 50, and a flag comes out at the end of that return as the Bears, for now, are set up in good field position at the Brooklyn 42-yard line.
Well, you know when the flag comes out in that instance, Joe, usually it's most of the time a block in the back. I was going to say, though, I for a moment there, we have the perfect view of that right in front of us. Looked like the Bears had really good blocking in front with 3 or 4 guys.
I think it's against Brooklyn, Joe.
Okay.
They did point in that direction, but now they've pointed in the direction of New York. So the officials are talking about it right now as we get a look at the replay. And we'll have to wait for the officials to sort this one out. It is a personal foul, blocking the back on New York. So you're something of an oracle, Joe.
I do my best.
Where did that penalty occur is the next question. Either way, it will be 1st and 10. It's just a matter of where on the field. Now, I believe they have ejected one of the Pharaohs. I do believe the official just signaled a Brooklyn ejection. It's so tough without on-field microphones, Joe.
Yeah.
They pointed at one of the Brooklyn players and gave the out signal. Usually that means somebody got tossed, but I didn't see anything that would be ejection worthy. So
No, and usually in a situation like this, you really have to start going at it. Your fists have to be flying on the field and showing a little more. And that Pharaoh sideline, Joe, it's already thin the way it looks, right? So we'll double check to see who got ejected.
I don't think there was an ejection, though. There is a player leaving. I don't think that was for an ejection.
Okay.
It's really tough. This facility is great. The only negative is that we're in a soundproof box. You cannot hear a thing outside from up here, especially with the headsets on. The windows in front of us don't open. All the sound that comes through is through the window to our right. And, Joe, this is the first play of the second quarter. That was the end of one.
Yeah, so for anyone who is not following at home, I don't know if we have the scoreboard vantage point in the camera view.
We do not. There is no running clock on the scoreboard, so we couldn't share the time even if we wanted to, which we would love to if it was on the scoreboard. But they do not keep the clock on the scoreboard. They keep it officially with the referees.
And officially, that's a run play on first down, a delay, and it's going to go for a gain of about 8. Yeah.
So the Bears returned that kickoff to the 42 of New York. They backed them up to their own 37. So it was a 15-yard block in the back personal foul. Though that would equate to more yards than that. So the foul occurred ahead of where that return ended. Here's one more look at that first down run.
Once again, really good blocking up front.
So I, of course, missed one of the running backs who just got his first touch. That was Justin Malik on the run. Pre-snap motion and a toss that almost got away from the Bears. And once again, a run play is blown up behind the line of scrimmage. That's a loss of 2 yards, bringing up 3rd and 4.
Haven't seen the Bears really look past that much here now that we're into the second quarter. Mostly a dose of run-heavy offense.
Well, we've seen it a couple of times already, Joe. First down, quarterback keeper on the opening drive. That went for 8 yards. And then they didn't get a first down. Drive number 2, they run on first down. It goes for 6. Here on drive 3, a couple of runs back-to-back. We'll see what they do here on 3rd down. They need 4 for a first. Maybe close to 5. I think they backed them up an extra yard. Make it 3rd and 5. Loveless Young in the gun. Hands off again. And I do believe on the last effort,
yes,
that is just enough for a first down.
Turned, got the first down. And, Joe, with a play call like that, likely they were probably going to go for it on 4th down, the Bears, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I think so. And I think you have to feel pretty confident so far with what you've done defensively. I think the danger with what we've seen is that Reem Williams has such good pocket presence and can step up away from the rush. If he's able to escape and buy himself some extra time to throw, big plays could happen, as this is a free play for New York, and it's picked off. And the Pharaohs know it, as Williams, who does it all, has an interception that will immediately be wiped away by the offsides.
Yes, and it was number 42 here for the Pharaohs on the defensive line.
Yeah, we mentioned a lot of players with duplicate numbers. Morris Hilton, not one of them.
Not one of them.
Starting at running back,
Yes.
also on the D-line. Got a bit of an early start as you watch Williams jog off the field there. So that's going to bring up a 1st and 5. And, Joe, it does appear our connection is now stable and has been for quite some time. We've been monitoring. Fortunately, I have the magic touch tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say, as soon as we switched chairs, that no longer became an issue.
I'm working on my dexterity, Joe. Engineering with the left hand.
Well, it's a good thing you're like me when you got a long wingspan. Comes in handy.
Yeah, I guess so. 1st and 5, New York. Ball in Brooklyn territory at the 49. Loveless Young moving to his right, throws downfield. Grizzle open. He makes the catch and dives across the 10-yard line. Goal to go, New York.
And that ball almost popped out at the very end, Joe, and we're going to get that on the replay. But that's a big throw to step up in the pocket, lead your receiver between two defenders, and if that throw was a little more on the money, you may be able to walk your receiver in there for a touchdown. But as it stands, really good throw.
You will certainly take it if you're the Bears. Tyshawn Loveless Young connects with Christian Grizzle downfield. 1st and goal, Bears. Already leading by 7.
A grizzled bear, huh?
You know, I never thought of that.
Well, that's why I'm here.
I know at least one person who'd be very proud of that. I think you and he host a podcast.
Yeah, something like that.
May have seen the commercial running here on the PDF Sports Network.
From time to time.
1st and goal, Bears. Ball spotted at the Brooklyn 9-yard line. Grizzle in motion. And it's a handoff on 1st down. It is a touchdown on 1st down. The Bears go in front by 13 on the handoff out of the gun. Brooklyn could not make contact behind the line this time. And as we mentioned before, Joe, no number 35 on the New York roster. However, that does not lessen his impact early in this game whatsoever.
No, and it looked like the pre-snap motion of having Grizzle come across the field. There you go. Confused, open up the defense right in the middle there, and you can't find an easier touchdown there. It's like parting the Red Sea. I knew exactly what you were thinking.
That first move upfield, planting the foot in the offensive backfield and making that first cut, all the difference on that play. And there's a good recovery on the hold. Starego's PAT is good. And the Bears lead it by the full breadth of 2 touchdowns, 14-0 over the Pharaohs. And if you're New York, I think you have to be thrilled with how this game has gotten started on both sides of the ball. They're in front by 2 scores early second quarter. With that, Joe, I am going to step off headset very quickly. We'll be right back. A 30-second break here on PDF ahead of this kickoff.
Decided not to post it on hosted, and not on the LA.
Hold on. We're unmuted. They can hear us. All right, we're back here on PDF. We lent the assist to Bill on public address next door. Wanted a glimpse at our Bears roster. Joe, Bill is almost certain that number 35 is Joey Ward. We mentioned him earlier, a name that we're very familiar with.
Yeah, on our roster sheet is 32, so that's not really an egregious.
Yeah, it's not a huge difference.
No.
Big game last week against the Bandits, so perhaps safe to assume it was him, but you know me, Joe. I never like to assume.
No.
Because I usually end up a rear end when I do that. So
It's something, you make whatever that saying is.
yeah. Some might say never. I might say darn right. As Brooklyn will take this one out across their own 40-yard line. That was 0, Lamont Tyson on the run back, or perhaps could have been Quay Mosby, the wide receiver, also wearing 0, though Mosby is listed as 00, so I think that was indeed Tyson. Again, Joe, we have the rosters provided to us. There is the recurrence of duplicate numbers in semi-pro. That's something to keep in mind. So it's not abnormal for those joining us for the first time for players to share a number. That does not mean they're wearing the same jersey, but sometimes there are duplicate numbers. It does occur from time to time.
Yes, it does. So the Pharaohs are going to start this drive here on their own 42. Looking to move the ball to the Bears side of the field. And they're in a big hole, Joe, here. Down 14 in the second quarter. And again, we don't have an exact time on the clock. The officials on the field are keeping track of that. Could probably make an assumption about when the 2-minute warning is, but we still got a couple minutes to get there.
Yeah, I don't think we're close yet, Joe. That Bears drive began the second quarter, so I'd say at most that drive probably took 3 or 4 minutes. Williams looking to throw on first down, incomplete in the direction of Kovco Jr. And Joe, I was confirmed correct. Kovco Jr. did quarterback the Dolphins in the EFA a couple of years ago.
There you go.
I think it might have been 3 seasons ago now, 2 or 3 seasons ago. And I have to say, as there was a flag on the play, I was actually watching it the other day. He quarterbacked a game against the Demon Knights. To this day, I believe it is one of maybe 3 games that PDF has called from inside the end zone. It is the only game that we have called from the end zone on field level. So picture the end zone, move back about 10 or 15 feet. There we were in, I think it was the 3rd row of a 3-row bleacher setup. So the flag for holding is going to back this one up about 10 yards. So make it a 1st and 20. Williams in the gun once again. And he will hand off on first down. The Bears all over it. That one blown up in the backfield. Naquan Alexander was driven back. Forward progress had been stopped.
Yeah, I was going to say there was a Bears defender running all the way to the end zone with that. You played to the whistle. But, again, we've seen on first down here the Pharaohs looking to run that delay. And that time it just seems like it was a little too predictable for the Bears up front.
Darrell Jackson made first contact and then got some help from his friends. That play blown up behind the line of scrimmage, and this looks like maybe a first down and 24. I mean, this is or 2nd and 24, excuse me. It's a long way to go.
Yeah, this is the second time in this game that I was going to say that the Pharaohs have put themselves in an auspicious 2nd or 3rd and long situation.
Williams going deep again. And that one is broken up. Great coverage once again down the field for New York. I believe that was Hussein McFadden.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the rare instance where the DB kind of looks a little more like the receiver, though.
Yeah, it was effectively step for step down the field. I would say the defensive back, McFadden, probably had a step on the intended receiver there. And I think that might be Mosby. I think that's 00. Indeed it is. So Mosby is wearing his 00. He is at wideout. It was Tyson on the kick return. Mosby, the intended target on that last throw.
Joe, what do you do here on 2nd and 25?
Well, it's 3rd and 25.
3rd and 25.
And, Joe, I'm not opposed to taking another shot down the field. I'm not
you're gonna
opposed to
have
a draw play.
I was going to say, you're going to try to have to draw a flag here, and looks like we're going to have some more yards tacked on here. As the far official looked like false start was the call?
It was. False start. Brooklyn will back up 5 more, and this is very uncharacteristic of the Pharaohs team that we've covered on PDF in the past. I think to this day they still have the record for total points in a non-PDF arena game here on the network. So we've covered some arena. I do believe we had an arena game that surpassed their point total. I think, don't quote me on this, I think it was 71 in a game that we covered back in 2022 that they scored, the Brooklyn Pharaohs. I do believe that was surpassed covering arena football. But I may be mistaken. It might be the highest scoring offensive performance ever on PDF, as they will try to throw it here, and Williams takes off. He's trying to avoid contact, but on that play, there was no getting away from Mokez Dickens.
He had to be careful there, though. He was tracking, and sometimes you put yourself in a position there as you're taking the receiver down and you're kind of yanking him and turning him a little bit. You could always be careful of the horse collar there, but clean tackle for the Bears. Some more self-inflicted wounds by the Pharaohs here. Never really got that drive going. And Joe, you're down 14 here. Looks like they're going to punt again, right? But
yeah, no question. And I think the concern now becomes, can you stop the Bears' offense first?
Right.
And then second, can you maintain a drive and sustain a drive? Because right now, a step forward has been accompanied by 3 or 4 steps backward for the Pharaohs. They've struggled in pass protection, and when they've had chances down the field, they have not made those plays. And that's not to say that they've been easy plays.
no.
It's been good coverage from the Bears with the exception of that first ball. And Stewart would love to have that one back. Who knows how this game changes if that pass is completed. But Brooklyn will punt on 4th and 25, and that one will come to rest at the New York 48. Emmanuel Adeoye, the punter for Brooklyn, also a defensive lineman. New York will take over 2 yards shy of the 50. 1st and 10, leading by 14. I would suspect somewhere around the midway point of the second quarter or just beyond it.
Yes, I would concur. Again, it's the Bears starting with a much shorter field. Just to the inner portion of midfield here. Again, 48-yard line. Joe, the big play was the big thing for the Bears in the last drive here. What do you think they're going to do here? You think they're going to systematically try to run it, grind out the clock? Or do you think they're going to continue to attack the Pharaohs with some big plays?
Well, I almost called you Nick. Joe, on the first play of each drive, it's been ground game leading the way. Right. So I think we're going to see more of that as you got one more look at that big throw. And indeed, it is a handoff here on 1st down, and a good 1st down run that will take New York out across midfield. It's a pickup of about 4 or 5 yards on that play. Give him 4 on 1st down. 2nd and 6 coming up. Once again, it was Malik on the carry, but it's been a consistent formula for New York, Joe. Early downs, hand the ball off, and throw it when you need to. And when they've needed plays in the passing game, as they did on that last drive, they got it. And once they were in goal to go, hand it back off and take it in for the easy touchdown. Once again, the Bears in Pharaohs territory. Brooklyn has not possessed the ball across the 50 very long in this game. They did cross midfield, immediately were driven backwards. And the drive ended with them deep inside of the 50. I'd say it was, 10 or 15 yards by the time they punted?
Yes.
And Loveless Young in trouble will go down here all the way back at the original line of scrimmage.
I was going to say that is a good job of lunging forward and leaning forward a little bit just to avoid getting those couple of extra yards. And, I thought that they were going to run the ball again there, and they opted to go for the play action. And I think that's the first time in this game that the defensive line for the Pharaohs, Joe, has really made a difference here as they set up a 3rd and long for the Bears.
Well, credit to Brooklyn's defensive line. We saw a couple of 2nd and 2s end up in 3rd down and medium to long. So they've managed to get the Bears into 3rd down. Can this Brooklyn defense get off the field as a flag comes out? And they will play on. And scampering out of bounds was Loveless Young. It is offsides against Brooklyn. And what was a 3rd And 9 or 10 will be halved here, or thereabouts.
Self-inflicted wounds by the Pharaohs, Joe, once again. How many times have they been flagged here in the first half? It's got to be at least 5 or 6 now.
Well, I think if you ask their coaching staff, they would say too many. But,
Good.
I think if they can get off the field here, they have a chance to steady the ship.
I think this is 4-down territory for the Bears.
It could be.
If you really, really want to go for the jugular here and make a statement as another flag. This time it looks like this is going to be on the Bears, though.
Delay of game. They give the 5 yards back. So officially it was a 3rd and 4. We'll make it 3rd and 9 with that penalty. And Joe, we mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, but it really is hard to believe that the Bears got started about 2 months ago. Keep in mind when we covered the EFA back in 2022, where you and I at that point, I think we hardly knew each other in 2022, right?
Yeah, I was going to say.
I don't know if we were on a first-name basis in 2022, but
no, we were first introduced probably a little bit earlier on.
I think
there.
late 21.
Yeah.
But either way, when we covered that game all the way back in 2022 between the Bears and Pharaohs, these teams looked a bit different on both sides of the ball as that pass is complete across the 40. First down, New York on 3rd and 9.
That's a huge conversion by the Bears, and that's a backbreaker if you're on the Pharaohs defense at the moment.
Good, strong hands by Chris Easter and a pinpoint accurate pass from Loveless Young. Here's one more look at it. Easter down to the turf, able to hold on. Tight coverage on the play as well, not enough. Back in 2022, Reem Williams still the quarterback of the Pharaohs, so that hasn't changed. But a lot of the playmakers on the Bears from back in that season, outside of the wide receivers, have changed. Certainly in the offensive backfield, but the running backs, and currently a different quarterback than we're accustomed to seeing. There's a handoff to Malik on first down, and nothing there. The Bears, we've seen it more than once in this game, Joe. After a loss on a running play, we've seen some linemen up front a bit upset. Get a look here on the replay. We'll see if we catch what happened after that play was over. And it looks like the frustration was directed toward one of the wideouts. But again, when you're not outside, down close to field level, really tough to pinpoint exactly what the point of contention is. 2nd and 12 now. Loveless Young with a good pocket. Forced to roll out right, directing traffic, throwing complete. And there's a good tackle on the back end of that play. The catch was made by Caden Liddy. And Liddy's name is one that we said several times earlier in the year.
That's right.
We do not have a 34 on the Brooklyn roster. So we can't give credit on a strong tackle, but that's a big play to make it 3rd and short. Looks like a 3rd down and about 5, maybe 4.
And I was going to say the improv there. For the first time, you really had to see that. And just buying those extra 2 or 3 seconds made all the difference. And, again, a huge difference between 3rd and 11, what it was, or what it would have been, and 3rd and 5, Joe.
Yeah, and that's good patience as well by Loveless Young. He bought a lot of time there, giving his receivers a chance to free themselves up. And as a quarterback, if you can buy anywhere from 2 to 3 seconds outside of the tackle box, at that point, your receivers are going to find a way to come back to the football. And it's really tough for a defensive back to stay with them that long, as New York has called timeout.
So this is a crucial play here. Bears are already up 14. 3rd down. Ball's at the 32. It's a 3rd and 3, Joe. And again, I imagine, based on what we have seen so far and where the ball is, I imagine this is basically 4-down territory for the Bears. as they're looking to play keep away and to extend what is already a 2-score lead.
So the Bears will talk things over ahead of what is going to be officially a 3rd down and 3. And if New York can score on this drive, Joe, one might argue they put this game away the way things have gone. Now, I think anyone who argues that might be making a mistake because we know how dynamic this Brooklyn offense can be, but the way that this Bears defense has consistently driven Brooklyn backwards in this game, I think if you go up 3 scores, you have to feel really good about it. And it's going to be tough for the Pharaohs to bounce back from a 3-score deficit, regardless of how prolific their offense is. Out of the timeout, 3rd and 3 New York. Undoubtedly 4-down territory here.
Undoubtedly, huh?
Undoubtedly.
Undoubtedly. I agree.
Unless they're driven backwards for double-digit yardage on a sack.
And you just want to pooch punt and try to pin them in deep.
Yeah, they're going to go for this unless they take a huge loss on a sack. Malik in the offensive backfield alongside Loveless Young. Lights coming on here in Hillburn as Malik finds a hole. And he is wrestled down from behind. That was Williams who got a hold of the jersey, but not before the Bears pick up the 1st down.
And for the second time in this quarter, Joe, we see the Bears' offensive line creating all of that space in the middle of the field. And again, you could have ran through that.
You're giving me a lot of credit there, Joe, but I think I could have. You're right.
That's excellent blocking by the Bears.
It's a good play by Williams as well to get a hold of that jersey. If he doesn't, that might have been trouble. Bigger trouble than it already was. 1st and 10 Bears, ball at the Brooklyn 21-yard line. And the Pharaohs are very quickly beginning to find themselves backed up against the proverbial wall. Couldn't have imagined we'd be saying that in the first half. Loveless Young in the shotgun. Grizzle motions onto the line of scrimmage, and they will hand off to Malik. And Malik is down at the 16-yard line. Looks like a pickup of 5.
Yeah, about halfway there. Joe, what's that old saying, if it ain't broke?
I like the early down run, Joe. If you're picking up 4 yards plus per carry on 1st down, there is no reason to put it in the air.
Absolutely.
Plus, you keep the ball away from Brooklyn. You keep the clock running. And the way this game is playing out right now, it seems like a score here puts you in a position where you'd have to beat yourself. Bit of a high snap, play fake, throw, too high.
And that would have been a nifty one-handed catch.
That's a missed opportunity there. Grizzle was wide open.
Yeah, I was going to say I like the idea and the execution there. Unfortunately wasn't there. And that's really, if you can call it a mistake, I would. The first real mistake of the game for Loveless Young, who's been pretty good throwing the ball, protecting the ball, creating plays and all that stuff. But that's one he would love to have back.
Well, I'm a big fan of option plays when it comes to the speed option and the option to throw off of what otherwise would be a handoff. And I think that was an option play, Joe. It looked like Grizzle was the only receiver in a pattern. And I think they had the option to either throw that ball or hand it off. And this play is blown up behind the line on 3rd and 5. Brooklyn wisely stripping at the football, could not take it away. But it is a big loss on 3rd. And now you're in that territory where maybe you try to kick, maybe you go. We'll see what the Bears decide here.
I think based on what we've seen from the Pharaohs offense, we're going to get this total in a minute because it was pushed back a little bit. Looks like a loss of about 3, Joe. So we're going to officially have a 4 and 8. Again, you go for it here.
Yeah, I was looking at the wrong marker. It's 4th and 8, not 4th and 13. And you're right, Joe. It does appear they're going to go. Here's one more look at that last play. Among the first to get to it were Jeshua Darnell, +1. Couldn't make out that second number. I think it was Hilton in there as well, Joe. I think it was Hilton and Darnell who combined on that stop. They have it as a 4th and 7 down on the field. And have we reached the 2-minute warning? Nope. Final timeout, New York.
I was going to say, yep, Bears taking their final timeout. Good call here is officially we're going to have a 4th and 7 coming out of that timeout.
Well, the Bears had a very, very real chance to get 3 at the very least, or perhaps punch in a third score on what was a 3rd and medium there, maybe a 3rd and on the shorter side, but driven backwards, they've almost been forced to put it in the air here. And we'll see. Joe, I don't think it's a guarantee they throw it. I really don't.
I don't think it's a guarantee that they throw it either.
I think there's a high chance they throw it, but I don't think it's a sure thing.
So here's my question to you. A delay or something up the middle, while it has worked a couple of times, seems very obvious. Kind of conservative here. Now, do you show pass, and do you trust Loveless Young with his
legs? If I'm going to run, it's with the quarterback.
That's right.
If I'm going to run here.
I knew exactly what you were thinking.
If I'm going to run here, it's with the quarterback. Now,
Pat agrees outside. Our camera operator, he's looking in. He's like, absolutely, you guys are the best.
There are trips to the right, Joe. They have numbers. Watch out for the screen pass here. Could they check into a screen?
That's certainly possible.
They will not. It's a throw to the end zone. Caught! Touchdown, Bears! Caden Liddy on the touchdown grab puts New York up by 20.
And if you look at that play, Joe, he was kind of tucked in, snuck in behind his own receiver. And that ball was as perfectly thrown to the back of the end zone as you could possibly get. And here's another look at it.
And Joe, I have to say, it is shocking they had that kind of opening with how far back the Pharaohs were backed off defensively.
That's right.
They gave them a massive cushion. They almost dared them to throw a screen. And I thought maybe they might check into one. But Loveless Young, showing his arm is indeed trustworthy. He delivers a strike to Liddy. And it doesn't seem to matter who's at quarterback. Liddy makes big plays as Storego puts in the PAT. Bears now lead it by 21, and I think that puts immense pressure on this Brooklyn offense to do something before halftime.
So I imagine there's not much time left here in the second quarter.
I would suspect not.
And I think what you're going to have to do here is, while the run game has been kind of effective here for Brooklyn, again, down 3 scores, if you're looking to get any kind of momentum here to start the second half, you know, I think you're going to try to have to push the ball down the field as much as you possibly can.
I think if you're Brooklyn, you get the ball to start the third quarter. You need to be aggressive here, no question. You're down 3 touchdowns.
You're going to have to try to go for 2 scores.
You can't be aggressive to your detriment here. You can't allow the Bears to put this game away before halftime. If New York scores again, that might be the put-away score. Now, Joe, there is no way that was the last play of the half, was it?
That was halftime?
That was the final play of the half, Joe. Well, needless to say, we are taken very much by surprise. The Bears called a timeout beneath the 2-minute warning. We never saw the 2-minute warning signaled, and that touchdown, followed by the PAT, is the final play of the first half. So with that, we will head to break. We have reached halftime in Hillburn. Our score, the New York Bears 21 and the Brooklyn Pharaohs nothing. It is the start of the second half from Hillburn, New York. Joe Foreman on the call alongside Joe Calabrese for the PDF Sports Network. And Joe, we are told that during the first half, the referee verbalized the 2-minute warning. It was not signaled. Our camera operator, Pat Gilorenzo, picked it up outside. So
yes, he did.
There was no signal, but there was a verbal announcement of the 2-minute warning, which you and I, of course, in the soundproof press box did not pick up. That is the reason we were unaware, and that makes the final play of that first half even bigger, Joe, because the Pharaohs very easily could have gotten out of the half, trailing by just 2 scores, getting the football to begin the third quarter. Instead, they trail by 3 touchdowns. Their offense has moved in the wrong direction for much of this game, and now they have to make up a 3-score deficit.
Yes, they do, but they do get the ball first here in the second half. Don't really go too much forward on the kickoff.
Well, that was Nazim McCray on the run back, and it didn't get very far. That ball spotted around the 29-yard line, though. They shuffle it back. Looks like maybe the 25, now the 29. Always tough to tell. Officials scattered throughout. Multiple footballs are out there on the field, but they'll get that extra one over to the sideline. Joe, if you're Brooklyn, first half struggle much of the way offensively. This game could look very different if it weren't for a touchdown through the hands of a wideout. What else can they change here in the second half to try and get going?
Well, I think try to use some misdirection. Again, I'm always a fan of short passes, so slants and screens. Try to give yourself, I don't want to say safe conservative options because you are down by 3 scores, but in order to generate some momentum, you're going to have to utilize some safe plays to try to break, get a 3 or 4 yard gain here, another 3 or 4 yard gain there as we have another flag here. So it looks like they're going to be backed up immediately by 5 yards, Joe. But try to work to see if you could use all downs. And from this point on, considering the way they played down 3 scores, you may be in 4th down territory on your own side of the field too.
And, Joe, I think that flag shows us exactly what needs to change. They have to stop moving backwards by their own accord. It's one thing if the Bears defense makes some plays and forces you behind the sticks, but a lot of it has been self-inflicted in this game, and it's been a massive problem for the Pharaohs so far tonight. And to have that happen before your first play of the third quarter, that is demoralizing for your sideline, demoralizing for the players out there, and it puts you in a position where it's really tough to make plays on, we saw earlier, 2nd and 25, 3rd and 25. It's been a really nightmare evening for the Pharaohs offensively. There's a quick throw short to the right side, and that will get them back to the original line of scrimmage prior to the pre-snap penalty.
So it's a good job getting those 5 yards back. It's exactly what they need to do. See if they can capitalize on that, move the football. Definitely need to cross the 50 here. Got to give your chance to get to at least 4 down territory where you're not thinking about, giving the Bears a short field and then having them come and score again and probably putting the game on ice at that point.
Have to be honest, Joe, unless it's 4th and long, the entire field is 4 down territory for me right now. That was Malik Sanders on that reception. I don't think I'm punting from anywhere. Second and 10 following the 5-yard pickup on 1st and 15. It's a handoff up the middle. Good hole there. And a good burst upfield as well. And I think that's good for a first down.
I think that's really good for a first down, Joe. Biggest play of the game, I think, for the Pharaohs up to this point. Much needed. Hopefully that gets them going.
It's a good run by Naquan Alexander there as we get one more look at it.
Good navigation, cuts, getting upfield, keeping his head upfield. Biggest, like I said, biggest gain of the game for the Pharaohs up to this point.
It's not often these Pharaohs backs have had the opportunity to be patient on a run. The Bears have been all over it for much of the game, but that time Alexander had a moment to survey, read his blocks, and he had a really good burst up the field. Williams throws quickly to his right, a sidearm delivery around the rush, and some extra yards after the collision on the reception by McCray.
I thought there was a flag on the play.
There is.
There is, okay.
Out of my view, right on the Bears sideline. So
you know what, Joe? I'm going to be honest. For a second there, because it's a little bit darker out and the lights, while they're good, it's not the brightest. I thought that ball was deflected. I didn't know if it was going to get to the receiver or not.
It was very close, and we're going to slow that down because the arm angle from Williams, reminiscent of an Aaron Rodgers or a Matthew Stafford with that sidearm delivery. The official's still talking things over. Here's a look at that throw, Joe. Slowed down to about quarter speed. If it wasn't tipped,
It looked like it was.
it was very close.
I was going to say the trajectory of that ball looked like it changed just a little bit. Yeah. It didn't take a lot of juice off the ball necessarily, and again, to their advantage.
It's a personal foul on New York, and I think it occurred along the sideline, but that hit at the end of the play.
Yeah, it looked like the flag was immediately right around the 50-yard line in front of us.
We'll let this run all the way through.
I mean, there's no way of knowing if it's a flag or if it's a towel on the Bears sideline,
Yeah,
because of that yellow.
It was a flag for leading with the crown of the helmet.
Okay.
I wasn't sure that applied to a ball carrier, though. I know it applies to a receiver. I thought once you became a runner that you could lead with the crown. What do I know? 1st and 10 Brooklyn, and Joe, they've done exactly what you said they needed to. Out across midfield in Bears territory. And I think that was a screenplay set up and a pickup of close to 5 yards.
But again, that's exactly what they need to do. You're not going to tie the game on one single play. And yes, we are in the second half here, so there has to be a little bit of sense of urgency. However, I still think you have time to at least pace yourself, keep your composure, keep the strive going. And again, now that you're on this side of the 50 and you're at the Bears, looks like the 40-yard line at the moment, you're in 4-down territory, so just keep this pace, keep the ball moving. Hope the Bears kind of inflict themselves with some wounds that you did in the first half and you get something going.
Alexander on the carry. Will pick up a 1st down.
Keep it simple. Some people would say stupid as an acronym for KISS, but I'm just going to keep it simple with one S.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you could pronounce it any other way. As we get one more look at that run. First and 10, ball at the Bears' 28-yard line. Williams in the pistol, was going to keep it, but a flag comes out. And Brooklyn is going to move backwards again.
Was this going to be a hold? No, false start.
False start.
False start.
It really has been a mess for the Pharaohs tonight.
Yeah, flags all over the place. And despite that, this drive is still looking pretty good, Joe.
Yeah, you can see it at right tackle on the replay if we get it off in time. And we will. Plenty of time. Right there. Just a bit early. It's now 1st and 15 for Brooklyn. Williams back in the gun. Alexander to his right in the offensive backfield. Williams, quick throw, not close, and a flag is out. Was there a late hit?
That's what I think, and it looks like the flag was thrown in the direction of a Bears defensive lineman who immediately threw up his hands, Joe, as if to say, what was that?
It's a penalty on the Bears.
I was going to say, let's see what exactly that was.
I think there was a push after the ball came out. It wasn't much. We're going to have to slow it down a bit more. It is a 1st down for the Pharaohs. Here's one more look. Ooh, that's not much. It's not much.
And that's why he threw up his hands.
It's a tough call.
It is a tough call.
The Pharaohs now in the red zone.
For the first time in the game.
That's right. They haven't been close yet. 1st and 10 from the 18. Whistles coming in repeatedly here. And they're going to respot the football. The officials get thumbs up. Ball now at the 19. Williams in the gun. Handoff goes nowhere. Now, Alexander continued to play on.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're going to say.
Was he down?
I
think he was.
so. I think so. I mean, that's the biggest push that the Bears' defensive line has gotten all game. It seemed like all 4 defensive linemen were in the backfield instantaneously following the snap, Joe.
They were.
They were.
It felt like that play was one where the Bears said to themselves in the huddle defensively, all right, we've seen enough. I think the big question mark right now is, can Brooklyn throw it down the field? Because even if they score on this drive, they've taken a lot of time here. And they may have to call timeout. Are they allowing time for the adjustment to the equipment? It appears so. And they will wind it here. So the clock was not running. For those who are unaware, the scoreboard in the corner does not have the official game time listed. It just says 2026. I would presume that is not a coincidence, as a flag comes out once again. And the Bears are flagged for the offsides.
A lot of communication going on the field right now, Joe.
Well, New York has done themselves no favors defensively in this game. At least on this drive. I shouldn't say that. On this drive.
On this particular
drive.
And let's be fair. The Pharaohs almost had a very long passing touchdown on their first drive of the game. And honestly, if that breaks right for them, this is an entirely different game at the moment.
Yeah, but it's not fair to say they haven't done themselves any favors in this game. It's been on this drive is what I meant to say. They had the one hiccup early as Williams throws to his right. Kovko Jr. goes up to get it. Is that a completed catch? I don't think so, Joe.
I don't think so either. So what I will say, though, is initially, and we have another flag here, so let's see if one of the officials in the back over here got one of these players for extracurricular stuff. But
they called it a catch, Joe.
They called it a catch and down by contact?
Don't you have to survive the ground?
I think you do have to survive the ground. I do not know.
We'll watch it again.
Yeah.
I don't think by the letter of the law that he didn't survive the ground. That's not a catch.
Okay.
It can't be. It was a good play.
Was a good play. Was a good throw.
He came down with it about 90% of the way, but certainly that's not a catch, is it?
And it was Kovko again over there, right? Number 17.
Yeah. They haven't spotted the football yet. Let's slow it down. The Bears can't believe it. Here's a look. You know what? He had it for a bit, but is that surviving?
So is the call that...
My instinct is that's not a catch. That's my instinct. They ruled it a catch.
Okay. And again, it's a little
Slowed
difficult
down,
here.
I don't dislike it as much as I did before.
It's tough, and it's close.
Now, is that a first down?
No. I don't think it was.
Well, the sticks are absent, so I don't know.
I do not believe it was.
I don't think so either.
I think it was
It was 2nd and 8, so it was close.
I would have a gain of a few yards. I would have said 4, so we're close. It was a 5-yard gain officially. So from 2nd and 8, we go to 3rd and 3.
Okay.
That seems right. And again, that's a tough play.
The spot seems right, but was the call right?
Huge 3rd and 3 here. For the Pharaohs, Joe, is
They have to have it, Joe.
Absolutely have to have it.
Have to have it. And if not, they will go. 3rd and 3. Play fake. Throw into the flat, complete. And that's going to go for 6. Tough to make out a number from here, Joe, but Williams has touchdown pass number 1 in this game. And we'll get you the recipient of that touchdown shortly as Brooklyn is on the board for the first time tonight.
Yes, they are. It's very difficult here with the lighting over here. Again, the lighting
Yeah.
is good for the field purposes, but
We can't see the numbers,
from
Joe.
where we are now, we're in a position
I
here where
believe that was Quay Mosby.
Quay
Joe.
Mosby.
I believe that was Mosby. But from this distance, good luck.
Is that number 4?
I think it was 0-0.
0-0.
Who caught the touchdown, yeah.
I saw number 4 do a cartwheel. Somebody did a cartwheel. You would think that they would get flagged for that, for excessive celebration or something silly.
We need to let them have some fun out there.
But what I did like by the Pharaohs there is they get the one-on-one on the outside there. And, again, if you just make one good move, make a guy miss, you're in for 6, and that's what happened.
Williams will throw for 2 off the hands of his receiver, incomplete.
And that is the correct decision. Based on the math, you always go for 2 there, even if you don't get it.
Really?
Yeah, you're supposed to essentially go for 2. Again, from the Pharaohs' perspective, down
Whose
3
math
scores.
is this exactly?
That's the math.
Who?
The math.
The math man? Who's his sidekick?
That's a good question.
Well, they didn't get it.
No,
And
they
it was
didn't
awfully
get it.
close.
It was close. It was a good play call, good attempt, good Bears defense here. Now, again, we don't have the clock, but that drive
That was a long drive.
exactly what I said for the Pharaohs needed to do. Just keep the ball. Couple of yard gains on each individual play. You don't necessarily have to get that one big play. But again, the drawback now is that with a long drive like that, you're going to have to try to get the ball back as quickly as you possibly can, because I'm sure sometime here in the third quarter bled out.
And, Joe, I didn't think of it earlier, but next time we come here, we're actually here 3 straight weekends in September. We need to call the game outside. I think it would enhance the broadcast a lot. Weather permitting.
Well, I will be out the third weekend of September. Will not be available at all. So you're probably going to have to try to bring up Nick.
Is there any reason you said his name like that?
I love Nick.
I know, but you said his name with, I don't know.
A lot of emphasis.
I would call it a bit of excess enthusiasm.
No such thing as excess enthusiasm for Nick
Okay.
Pavona.
Kickoff lands just shy of the 35. Bears play it on a bounce.
There will be a flag on the play.
Yeah, and a good run back here that could go for some points. Not quite, but you said it, Joe. There is a flag on the play.
Was there a lost helmet, too? From the
That
ball?
I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Well, let's get a look at the run back and try and spot the flag. And if the Bears start in plus territory, a field goal could put them up 18.
That'd be a backbreaker.
That's
for,
3 touchdowns.
Yep.
And I think that's ball game. If you get 3 here, I think that probably ends it. Only because, Joe, the Pharaohs took a lot of time on that drive.
Yes, they did.
But let's see. Right now, they have the line of scrimmage at the Pharaohs 47. The officials continue to talk over the penalty.
Well, the penalty is important because if it's on the Pharaohs, it's going to move the ball.
Offsides on Brooklyn.
Okay, so negligible. Bears take the yardage that they got on the return. They will start at what looks like the Pharaohs' 47-yard line.
They're going to move it up 5 rather than re-kicking.
Okay. So the 5 yards will get tacked on at the end of the run. So officially it'll be the start at the 42-yard line. The Bears are going to have a short field. And you would think that if they could figure out a way to work themselves 20 or so yards downfield into the red zone, if it stalls, they may try a field goal. If not, maybe they try to go for the touchdown to really, really ice the game.
Loveless Young hands off. Ward skips forward and got away from a couple of arm tackles there. Turn what would have been no gain or perhaps a small loss into a pickup of about 6.
Again, good running. Good running from both teams in this game. Both backs have essentially kept their feet moving. Again, sometimes it's just the simple fundamentals. And for the Bears, considering that first run here went for, well, now they're going to call it officially gain of 5, so it'll be 2nd and 5, Joe. But considering they're getting 4 or 5 yards a pop as they're running, Are you really going to change anything at the moment?
I would not. I would not. The early down run has worked. It's a play fake and a throw. Downfield complete. Inside the 10-yard line and down by contact. However, it is a big reception for Chris Easter, and Loveless Young has done a great job getting many receivers involved.
Yeah, and honestly, on the turn there after the catch, it seemed like he just kind of lost his footing a little bit, tripped over himself a little bit. If he doesn't do that, he walks in there for 6. That's a great play call, Joe. Boy, did we have that wrong.
Yeah, they've run it well in the early downs. You throw in the play fake, and
they really haven't taken a shot.
You reap the benefits.
They've taken shots in this game, but on those particular plays, Joe, there were flags on the play, so they just took the free play. That was the first time they really took an interesting shot downfield.
Flag out, and they'll blow it dead. That was complete in the end zone.
Looks like the flag's going to go against the Bears, though. Oh, no, it's not. It's offside on the Pharaohs.
So they blow it dead. And Brooklyn continues to rack up penalties. We'll slow it down here and see if we can spot where Brooklyn came across. Almost looks like they weren't set defensively. Really, nobody moved except quarterback, running back, and a couple of receivers. That was the epitome of free play. But the officials blow it dead. Trips to the left, 1st and goal. Play fake, throw, corner, end zone! Touchdown! What a grab, what a throw, and a flag is out after that play ended. But for now, it is a Bears touchdown, and what a throw and catch for that score.
Yeah, I was going to say there were multiple flags thrown, but Joe, I mean, that's a really pretty ball. One-on-one coverage on the outside. It seems like at the tail end of that play, there was a second Pharaohs defender going out there. But that one-on-one coverage, that throw has to be perfectly thrown, kind of to the back shoulder area by the pylon. And again, we don't have a great vantage point. That's the really far side of the field. But just an amazing throw, catch, touchdown, and that may do it.
Awaiting the call, Joe, I didn't get the replay, so shame on me for that.
Oof.
I was waiting the signal, and we got it, and then trying to make out who scored it, we didn't engage the replay. So that's on me, but did we pick up who scored it on the way back from the corner? I think it was Liddy, Joe.
I think it was Liddy, too.
I'm fairly certain it was Liddy, but a sequence of personal fouls followed that play as well. So the officials are going to sort through all of that, and it looks like we're going to have a brief pause in this game. Now, if those personal fouls offset,
then the extra point stays where it is.
Exactly. And it looks like that's what happened.
It looks exactly like it's what happened.
Yep. And they will kick.
So that's a break there for the Bears because you didn't want to be backed up on the extra point attempt. There's still game here to be played. We're only in the third quarter.
Joe, I've been conditioned from doing this now for the last several years to never say never.
Right.
But if a touchdown ever felt like a backbreaker ahead of the fourth quarter in a game that I think at halftime was well within striking distance, I think that touchdown is that backbreaker. Storego remains perfect on PATs, and the Bears lead it by 22.
Building that lead back up to 3 scores. Again, with the way that this game has gone, it seems insurmountable. And, Joe, have the Bears scored on 4 consecutive possessions? I believe they have.
They have. They have not been held without a score on any possession since the opening drive. And I think if you're New York, you have to be really happy with what you've done on both sides of the ball. I think on that last drive, the penalties really hurt you and put Brooklyn in a position to score, but your offense immediately responds, and I think This team hitting their stride, now officially game 2 in the EFA, but several games deep into their overall summer season already, summer into fall. They look really good tonight.
They looked really good, and you know what? On that last drive, Joe, again, it wasn't many plays on that drive. I believe it was 4 total. But that play action call on that 2nd and 5, they could have very easily had just, I really think, called run, called misdirection, maybe a play action pass or a short pass here.
And Joe, hold on. Sorry to interrupt you. They just called 2 personal fouls on the Bears. They're backing up this kickoff 30 yards.
So what would be the calls there? Maybe taunting or something excessive again?
I don't know, because they called it when both teams were lined up in kickoff formation and kick return formation. There were not even any players face to face. So I think it went 15 half the distance, 35 to the 20, 20 to the 10. And you have to be careful here, Joe, because it's very easy for a game like this to get out of control.
Yeah.
A series of personal fouls. Score now. 3-score advantage for the Bears. The officials very likely to have a tight grip on this one the rest of the way. See if the Pharaohs can make something of a short kick, and indeed they will. Into New York territory, across the 30, and down just shy of the New York 25-yard line is Lawton.
That's exactly what the Pharaohs needed to kind of keep themselves in the game here. The Bears, very lucky that they avoided the personal foul on that play. I mean, there was a handful of jersey on that tackle, Joe. Again, like I said at the beginning, it's very difficult, as you're pulling somebody down, not to try to get inside for that horse collar. Turns into a penalty issue and a safety issue as well. But the Pharaohs getting exactly what they need here. They have a super short field to work with. On the last drive, they were able to move the ball effectively past the 50, get into the red zone for the first time, cap off the drive with the score. They conceded a touchdown to the Bears on that last possession here. So let's see, with some clock still in the third quarter, and again, we don't have the exact time, but there's still time in the third quarter here. This game's not over.
Well, Joe, I am very much a believer in no takebacks, but I might need to take back what I said about that last touchdown being the backbreaker. 2 personal fouls and a big return.
Well, who knew that the personal fouls were going to happen?
Well, yeah, you never know what's going to happen. But now Brooklyn, with a quick score, is right back where they were a couple of minutes ago before the Bears score. See what they can do. Williams in the gun, 1st and 10, ball at the New York 25, and I think that one's going to go against the Bears.
Yes, it is.
Ooh, I got away with assuming that time, Joe.
Well, I think the reason why the logic from the defender in that spot is there was a slight flinch, right? So maybe you try to get the false start. Maybe you just, try to sell it as much as you possibly can. Bears doing themselves no favors here. It was the Pharaohs who got flagged a bunch of times in the first half. The Bears have seen that happen to them here in the second.
1st and 5. Williams with time. Throwing end zone complete. Touchdown, Brooklyn. And again, Joe, the ball came out late.
No, but that was a good catch.
Well, the Bears.
Went to the ground.
The Bears were protesting.
I think the first one, you had every right in the world to protest that one. Not so much.
I looked away, assuming touchdown. Here's a look.
I believe he goes to the ground, maintains possession of the ball.
I think that one's good.
Yeah.
He had a couple of steps in.
Yes.
That's good. It's Dmitry Kovko Jr. on the touchdown reception, and Joe, Brooklyn right back in it.
That's right.
This conversion is a big one because if you don't get this, you need 2 more.
That's right. Again, like I said, the math has to math here.
Well, now, of course, you go for it. If you have the ability to kick, I'm not kicking down 14.
No.
Oh, I'm not going for 2 down 14.
Well,
I am
know,
kicking.
Right, I know what you meant.
I am kicking down. It was 15. I am kicking down 15.
Okay.
There's too much time left at that point for me. It's a 16-point game. Pharaohs off the touchdown will go for 2 here. They had a 2-point attempt hit off the hands of a receiver the first time, and this throw comes up short. And, Joe, I am shocked there was not a flag anywhere on that play.
Yeah, I was going to say it looked like a Bears defender came offside again. He was in the backfield, forced the errant throw there.
All right, well, let's see how well-timed the snap was off the edge.
Let's see.
All right, we have to go back a bit further, but we'll run this through first. I mean, that's a freebie pitch and catch. Let's go back further here. All right. Perfectly timed jumping of the snap or missed call. Let's see what we think. Looks pretty well timed to me,
I think
Joe.
it looks really well timed.
I think that was a good no call.
It's a major play in the game because the conversion there, 14 and 16, that 2-point difference makes a huge difference because now the Pharaohs, while down 2 touchdowns, assuming they can figure out a way to stop the Bears here and give themselves an opportunity to cut into a 16-point deficit, would need 2 touchdowns and 2-point conversions.
And that is the final play of the third quarter. Our score after 3, the New York Bears 28 and the Brooklyn Pharaohs 12. And, Joe, you just got the sense Brooklyn really could have used that 2-point conversion. It puts a bit of extra pressure on the Bears, and it doesn't require them to be perfect the rest of the way. Now you have to be just about perfect for the final quarter. Kicking off will be Brooklyn here following that score. And the Bears, with how well they've run it, they're going to make it really tough on the Pharaohs to get the ball back twice following 2 stops. Then they not only need to get it, but they'll have to convert for a pair of 2-point tries, barring any defensive scores or maybe even a safety. You can't rule out a safety. You never really know. But if you're the Bears, you're firmly in control. And all you have to do here is protect the football. And I'd say you probably need no more than 3 or 4 first downs the rest of the game. Once again, looking to reverse field. On the run back was New York. This time on the return, it was Kyer Tillery. Tillery forced out of bounds around the 35-yard line, and that's where the Bears will start. New York, as we mentioned before, has scored on each of their last 4 possessions. However, Pharaohs have scored on their last 2. Brooklyn in dire need of a stop. And if they can get it quickly, they can almost immediately insert themselves back into this game. But they need a quick stop.
And now if you're the Bears, what I was saying to you on the last drive, Joe, just being able to churn, get some yardage on each individual play, but you're going to have to bleed a little bit of clock here as well because, playing keep away worked in the first half. In the second half, the Pharaohs have scored on each of their 2 possessions.
1st and 10, New York. They start at their own 35-yard line. Pre-snap motion and a keeper for Loveless Young. A flag out. And a gain of a yard if this play stands. And it will not. It is a hold on New York. And if you're Brooklyn, I don't know if you could have scripted a better start to the drive outside of a sack.
No, I'm a little bit surprised there. That's the first time that they've really called Loveless Young's name for a run play there, Joe.
Yeah, he called his own number on the opening drive. I don't believe he's crossed the line of scrimmage with the football since. They tried to run it with him again, but the play was blown dead. I think they did anyway. I could be mistaken. I know they tried to run with Williams on the Brooklyn side. That play was whistled dead.
So that's a major decision here. What are you going to do, Joe? I think they're going to probably run a draw.
I think they'll run it once. They'll
Yeah.
run it once and then assess. And, well, that does not make it any easier on second down, that's for sure. The only question is, how much did they lose?
So that blocking up front from the Bears, which was pretty good in the first half for the most part, haven't really seen that in the second half. Big-time adjustments have been made by the Pharaohs defensive line, maintaining the line of scrimmage and even getting into the backfield a couple of times and preventing the Bears from doing too much on the ground here.
I think the trap that you fall into if you're the Bears in that spot is that Brooklyn knows you're probably going to run it once there, and it just puts you behind the 8 ball before you ever snap it. And Jason Walker has shown that his squad is not shy about throwing when you expect them to run, and that timing pattern just not there. Liddy, the intended receiver, and now it's 3rd and 25, and Joe, Brooklyn has to get off the field here.
Yes, they do. Now, if you're the Bears, right, I think what you have to do is probably push the ball down the field on a deep throw. Because effectively, if it doesn't work, you punt, right? I think trying to just get a safe gain, I don't really think that does anything for you. So I would push the issue here. Try to see if you could throw the ball, get the ball to the sticks a little bit, give your receiver a chance to get the first down. Worst case scenario, it's picked off. If you're sending the ball downfield, it's as good as a punt. Best case scenario, if it's not a completion, you draw a flag, you get a fresh set of downs.
If you go deep and throw a pick, you better not let them run it back. And I don't mind that call. It's a short screen with blocking. Big juke. Ward ducks away and is brought down from the back of his helmet.
I was going to say the Bears sideline looking for a call there. I was kind of expecting a call myself.
I think you're allowed to grab there, Joe.
I think so too. Yep.
He kind of set it up himself. And that's a really good play on the defensive side as well by Malik Sanders. If he doesn't tackle Ward, I think they're going to pick up that first down.
That's right.
The question is, are they going to go for it here?
I think they are. I think they should. And on 4th and 6, I would.
It might even be shorter than that, Joe. It might be 4th and 5. Either way, it's a far cry from what was originally a 3rd and 25. And, Joe, they're lining up to go for it. An opportunity for Brooklyn to take over in plus territory. Perhaps a chance for the Bears to put this game away.
I think this is a little aggressive. However, Joe, I do think this is the right call, considering how this game has gone.
And they'll fake the handoff and complete on the read option. An RPO throw over the middle, wide open on 4th. And that will bring up first down for New York.
It's an excellent play design. Great job by Loveless Young there. I think they got the defense to bite initially, and it was just enough to open up the middle of the field. Successful game by the Bears. They cross midfield. Huge moment in this game, and it's I said backbreaker before by the Pharaohs, and they came right back with a touchdown. It's not a backbreaker yet, but they
it might be, Joe.
Made it a little more difficult for themselves here.
Joe, if they were down 14, I would feel a lot more strongly that they're very much in it. Down 16, they need 2 touchdowns and 2 conversions, plus 2 stops against an offense that has been very strong since their opening drive, and there's a pickup of 5 for Joey Ward.
And there was a little more of that good blocking that we saw.
Give him 7, Joe.
Yeah, I was going to say. A little more of that good blocking that we saw from the Bears, mostly in the first half, though. And from what we've seen, again, the Pharaohs have done a nice job by the defensive line of kind of leveling out the line play here in the third quarter particularly. But now it seems like coming out of that 4th down, the Bears are looking to regain that advantage that they had up front.
A 3-score advantage certainly puts this game away now. Bears taking some clock with them on this drive. And they will hand off again. Malik breaks a tackle and is just short of a first down, maybe a yard or two. We'll call it a 3rd and 1.
Yeah, I think he's about a yard and a half, we'll say. Kind of looks like where the sticks are being. Looks like a 3rd and 2.
That very nearly went for a loss. I thought with that first broken tackle he was going to get it, but a good job by the Pharaohs to rally and make the tackle. Now all of a sudden, Joe, it looks like 3rd and inches. They just moved the yard markers very close side by side.
Gave him the forward progress right at the 36, we'll say. The sticks are very close to the 35, so it looks like a 3rd and, again, a short 1.
I thought it was closer to a 3rd and 1 than it was a 3rd and 3.
Sure. But again, with the way that the Bears have maintained the play at the line of scrimmage here on these last few plays.
And, Joe, they gave him the first down.
They gave him the first down. Wow.
The sticks read 3rd. They made the change.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
And it's a throw deep downfield, incomplete. Just a bit too long. And Caden Liddy was all alone, open for what would be his 3rd touchdown of the game.
He had about 2 steps on his defender there, Loveless Young, looking like he knows he should have had that one.
Well, Joe, if it was going to be 3rd and 1, I think the play call would have been the same. I really
think so
do.
too.
I really do. And I was going to suggest maybe they try and put this game away on the play fake. If you think back, you weren't on the call, but in the game against the Generals, they made a late quarterback change, and I thought, okay, surely they're going to run it here and take the clock with them, force the Generals to score. That's the last time that PDF was here calling a Bears game. And they proceeded to throw it for a long touchdown of 60-plus yards. No problem. Handoff Malik. He bounces off one hit and continues to drive forward to within about a yard of the first down marker.
Looks like it's going to be another 3rd and short. Didn't quite see who the player was in motion on the far side of the field there. But again, we've seen that from the Bears a couple of times in this game.
It's been Grizzle more often than not, and I believe it was Grizzle again.
It was Grizzle,
Indeed,
for sure.
It was.
Yes.
And, you know, he's a player where if you get him the ball quickly off the snap, he can make any defender out there miss. Even the most disciplined defenders, the best tacklers, Grizzle can put them on skates. And don't forget about his ability to stretch the field as well. He can give you a little bit of everything.
It's a little bit more of a gadget player. And again, it's the Bears here on 3rd and 1.
And they'll go deep. And they will complete it. Touchdown, Bears. New York once again in a run situation throws downfield. And, Joe, I think that one is indeed the dagger.
Yeah, I was going to say that is the 3rd time in this half that the Bears came up in a situation where it was either 2nd and 3rd and short. And instead of electing to do what the safe option, they decided to take a chance downfield. And in their case, they've been able to consistently convert. That's an excellent throw by Loveless Young. Again, similar to the fade that we saw on the other side of the field there. On the other side of the field, allowing your receiver back shoulder throw, only where he can get it, and back to a 3-score game.
And, Joe, from our perspective, so tough to make out that number. I believe it was Nigel Swift on the touchdown grab as Storego was taken down following a successful PAT.
Looks like there's a flag on the play. It's going to be running into the kicker or roughing the kicker.
We'll see. We'll get a look at it on replay as well.
Bear sideline a little bit up in arms.
Yeah, and Joe, that lighting that our audience sees on the screen, that is very much like what we can see. It is really hard to make out the numbers on those Bears uniforms. Oh, that is a nasty hit.
Yeah, it was very easy to see why the Bears sideline and a couple of the coaches were out on the field immediately following the contact that the Pharaohs special teams player made with the kicker there on the PAT attempt.
Yeah, whenever a defender goes low on the kicker, that's going to draw the ire of the sideline and a flag more often than not. I believe the Bears will accept the penalty and assess on the kickoff. And fortunately, Sturego able to walk off. Just a bit of help. He's favoring his ankle, it appears. He's a perfect 5 for 5 on extra points in this game.
And you know something? That does play a factor.
Oh, it sure does.
Absolutely.
When you have a kicker who's automatic on
Yeah,
PATs,
makes such a huge difference.
that is massive because you don't have to worry about 2-point conversions. And
you know, we're at a level like this where I'm sure there are a couple of teams that choose to elect to just go for the 2 because maybe they're not equipped and they don't have a kicker who could be automatic like that. For the Bears, it's a luxury.
yeah, not every team carries a kicker. And even those that do, very oftentimes will go for the 2-point conversion. Now, I would presume they're going to move the ball up. Indeed, they will.
So in the middle of all that, Joe, we are now in the fourth quarter. The refs gave the signal on the field.
The Bears are going to kick off. Well, I thought from the 50.
That's what it looks like.
They walked straight past the 50. They were ready to keep going. Boy, would I have loved to see Sturego try and put this one through the uprights. That would have been
I'm sure he
awesome.
was going to attempt that if they would have.
Well, I'll tell you, he was drilling kicks from, I think it was about, I want to say 40 at halftime. Maybe a bit further. Completely different without a rush defensively and the pressure of getting that kick off quickly, but I would have loved to see him try and put one through the uprights here. That kickoff received back at the 10-yard line by Brooklyn, and Grizzle just got enough of the return man there to make sure that did not turn into something bigger. That was Marcel Rudolph on the run back. 1st and 10 Brooklyn. Ball spotted around the 31.
You know, I was going to say it's a really, really good return, but it's almost kind of negated by the fact that the kick was at the 50.
And, Joe, this very well could be Brooklyn's last drive of the game. I'm not sure how long the Bears possess the football, but I would guess that we are at the very least at the midway point of the quarter. And with this being a 3-score game, sometimes that clock begins to tick a bit more quickly, if you know what I mean.
That's right.
We got started, I think it was about 15 or 20 minutes behind schedule. You and I were following the venue clock, which they stopped on the way down from 30 minutes at 20:26.
So between the delay, the connectivity issues that we had, the sun in our faces, there were a couple of factors. And when we went out for the pregame, we didn't really have a chance to actually complete the pregame. We got most of it in, though, which was good.
Yeah. So you know what, Joe? As we have a flag here, let's throw up a graphic that we had for the pregame. A couple of things that we missed.
Okay.
We'll start with the EFA standings. So, as we mentioned, the Bears making the move from the NEFL to the EFA. They have one game in the EFA officially under their belts. They defeated the New York Bandits 23-6. The Pharaohs played the Demon Knights last week. The Demon Knights were originally scheduled to be New York's opponent in this game. That changed. Brooklyn replaced Empire State. And so far, it's going pretty well for the Bears. It looks like they will improve to 2-0. We touched on it during the pregame. These non-league games do count in the EFA standings, so that's something to keep in mind. This game will count for the Bears in the standings, and with a win, they will keep themselves in first place in the EFA. It appears we have some more time, so while we do, let's take a look at the EFA schedule this week. The Bears not the only team in action in the Elite Football Alliance. They are joined by the New Jersey Silverbacks, a team that we have covered here on PDF, as well as the New York Savage. That game kicked off, I believe, a bit earlier than our game and could very well be over. Don't quote me on that, but I do believe I checked on Hosted Sports. I think that game kicked off ahead of us, but that I'm not sure of, so do not hold me to it. However, with a win, the Bears remain in first place. A loss could have dropped them into a share of first place. So New York in good position early in their latest tenure in the EFA, and we expect to be here as the broadcast home of Bears football every step of the way. And Joe, I believe that flag was picked up and a timeout was granted instead. So 1st and 10 Brooklyn, and a run will go for a pickup of 10 yards on the dot. First down, Pharaohs.
It's a great start by the Pharaohs to start this drive. And again, they've actually been doing very well running the football, both teams in this game. And you've seen the Bears shockingly abandon it a little bit, electing for those deep passes here in the second half that they have converted. For the Pharaohs, though, good job coming out, getting 10 yards immediately. Obviously, they're not looking to abandon the run. Still think there's enough time that they can incorporate it. But if they do so, they're going to have to play a little bit of that hurry rush offense.
And, Joe, there's one thing especially that I love about this Bears team, and I'll explain after this play. There's one thing that I love about the way they call a game. As that pass is caught off the flip out of the backfield, but the pickup is only about 2 yards on the play, 2nd and 8. What I love about the Bears and the kind of game that they call is that they always call the game to win and never not to lose.
That's right.
You will never catch the Bears calling a game offensively or defensively with the intention of, let's make sure we don't lose this game. They are always calling every play to win. Now, that sounds cliche, but
one might say you play to win the game.
Very easily on 3rd down and 1, they could run it,
Absolutely.
pick up the first down.
Yep.
But they know Brooklyn thinks we're going to run it. Let's put them away here and go play fake. As Williams is in trouble, escapes and breaks free. Williams, with a nice move and a great burst upfield, is down at the Bears' 35-yard line.
Yeah, and he made a nice move there, Joe. That play was going to be just about a couple yard loss, maybe a 2 or 3 yard loss, and he turned that into essentially what looks like, about a 15-yard gain or so?
They started around the 42, and they took it to the 35, so that's 23 yards. I'm not a math major, but I think I got that one right.
I think you did.
And on the other side of this matchup, we've covered a lot of semi-pro, a lot of arena. I don't think in all the years of covering semi-pro, we've covered a quarterback more dynamic running the football than Reem Williams. Once he gets through the line of scrimmage, watch out. And here he is again. Toward the sideline, and he is not going to be taking any more hits tonight. Gain of 5.
I was going to say, if you need an NFL comparable, he's got a little Bryce Young, a little Tyrod Taylor in him.
We'll give him 7 on the play. They officially spotted Williams down at the 38 on that last play. He got the 30, so it's 2nd and 2. And I think in terms of his stature, I think those are fair comparisons. But, the way he can throw it as well, I would be inclined to argue there's a bit of a bigger arm relative here at the semi-pro level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like relative to other semi-pro quarterbacks, I think he's a much more dynamic passer than a Tyrod Taylor or a Bryce Young is in the NFL.
Yeah, we saw that on the first drive.
Yeah, Bryce is moving, I think, in a very positive direction. But that's a bit off topic. After what I think was a very disappointing rookie year, is he a 3rd year now?
Yes.
This is the start of the 3rd year, or he's 3 years deep?
I think he's 3 years deep.
I agree. So the first year, not great. The second year showed flashes. Last year, I was impressed in more than one game. I still think they botched it, though. They should have taken Stroud. And breaking free is Alexander, and he almost took that the distance.
So that's going to set up a 1st and goal, Joe, there. And I would say over the course of the last couple of plays and really a large part of the second half. The Pharaohs have been effective on the run, and making that first defender miss, that's been the key for them to get these run plays going.
I believe the Bears have called timeout.
So they want to regroup a little bit. And again, there's still some time here. Time is running out on the Pharaohs a little bit. Not so much so that they have abandoned the run entirely.
I'd suspect, Joe, that we're closing in on the 2-minute warning. Brooklyn content to hand the ball off here. And it's worked well for them on this drive, but I think the message for the Bears is don't give away anything cheap in this spot.
No.
This could be the last time your defense is on the field.
And I was going to say, it seems almost as if the Pharaohs are calling this particular drive as if, okay, let's see what we could do. This has worked the second half. We're going to continue to make it work. And if we're able to cap off the drive and get into the end zone again, probably going to be seeing an onside kick scenario.
Ball spotted at the 10-yard line. It is first down and goal to go for Brooklyn on what I believe, Joe, is going to be their final possession. Now, keep in mind, at halftime, the break caught us by surprise.
We will not be surprised this time around.
Don't make any bold declarations you can't back up, Joe. We might very well be surprised. And it looks like Williams might be making a change at the line of scrimmage here. He's in the pistol.
Got to be thinking the Pharaohs are going to run again.
McCray, the pre-snap motion man.
Maybe a little option.
And that goes nowhere. The ball's out. And it was a fumble.
It was a fumble. Happened on the exchange there.
Well, good luck picking up the yard markers from here. I believe they were at the 10, so it's going to be a second and goal from the 17-yard line.
And you know something? Considering how good the run has been for the Pharaohs in the second half, Joe, I didn't agree with the play call there.
Well, I think you're at a point in the game now where you don't want your quarterback taking any hits. I'm okay with handing the ball off here and getting out of Hillburn without any injuries or any late-game scuffles or anything like that.
That is a fair point, too.
Yeah, I don't think you want to be overly aggressive. There is the pride component. You want to score, no doubt, but I think you do try to score without risking the well-being of any of your players. But, Joe, we have reached the 2-minute warning, and we can indeed back up your declaration. We are not going to be caught by surprise again.
No.
It's been a long day for you and I. We worked another game earlier. You were on PA. I was on the broadcast for College of Staten Island men's soccer.
Yeah, we did a lot of talking today, you more so than me.
We then booked it up here to Hillburn, got here about an hour before kickoff, plenty of time as that was dropped. And that's going to bring up third and goal.
And that would have been a touchdown.
I think so. And those are the kinds of plays that really bother you. Even in a game where it's decided, you're trailing by 3 scores, how different could this game have been, Joe, if Brooklyn converts on that early touchdown opportunity?
I think the entire game would have been different.
100%. The entire game shifts because it's very clear that New York arrived with a game plan, run the football. If they go, was it 4 and out to begin the game? You go 4 and out.
Maybe there was the misconnection on the touchdown, but that punt at the beginning of the game, that was really –
Well, it was really 5 and out, Joe. It was 5 and out because they had the big play, and then they went 4 and out. So it was 5 and out to begin the game. One huge play, and then 4 downs, and you're off the field. But this game completely changes as that's completed, and it's going to be 4th and goal from the 4. So last chance for Brooklyn here. Did they run the clock after that play? I think they did.
I think they've been maintaining a little bit of a running clock here in the fourth quarter.
I would suspect, Joe, this is the final play of the game. I think this is it. But as I was saying, if you go 5 and out and then give up a touchdown, it's very easy for you to stray away from that game plan And for much of this game, Joe, I think the Bears, were it not for the play fakes, they don't get the openings we've seen down the field. And the Bears have called timeout. That is their second.
It's another thing about the Bears. Not afraid to use timeouts in key spots.
Well,
they used all 3 in the first half. They've used 2 in the second half here, and we're inside the 2-minute warning. It's a 3-touchdown advantage, but again, they still want to talk it over. And there is, again, a little bit of pride to play for, because at this point, you know that Brooklyn, this seems like it's it for them. Let's score here. Let's finish the second half with the 3 scores that we had, and we'll take it into the next game. And for the Bears, they want none of that. They just, you know what, we're going to talk this over, and we're going to make a stop here, and then we're going to let the game end.
All right, so the officials are talking things over as the Bears slowly make their way back out onto the field. So, Joe, New York not only calls a game avoiding the trap of playing not to lose, they are fully committed to winning this game by 23 points, no less. And they take a timeout on what ultimately will be an inconsequential play and look to keep this lead right where it is. Brooklyn, I presume, is about to snap it for the final time. I think this is the last play of the game, without a doubt. If they score, maybe they run one more for the 2 points, but I'm not even sure they run another play. Moving in tight toward the line of scrimmage is a number 55, who is not on our Brooklyn roster, but that's a big body there.
All right, now I'm going to ask one last question.
Yep.
Is this a moment where you get wacky and you draw up something ridiculous?
Perhaps.
Doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Or you back up 5 and try something else.
That's right. Well, actually,
is it against the Bears? No, it is not.
No, it's not. It's a false start. So you had it right. They're going to be backed up 5 yards. But now I think that puts the trickery in play a little bit more, don't you think? If I have a couple of I'm sure both of these teams have 3, 4, 5 gadget plays in their playbook, just in case. You never know. You always want to just at some point during the season run one here, run one there, just to see what you can get away with, just to see if you can catch somebody off guard. You know, in this case, if you're Brooklyn, you're not running, the best trickery play that you have. But maybe you got to try something here, right? What do you think?
What do you have to lose?
That's right.
Based on this formation, it doesn't look like the play call's changed.
No.
4th and goal. Brooklyn possessing it for what is likely the final time, and Williams is in trouble. He will circle back into the tackle box, throw end zone a bit too high. And I believe that may be the ball game, Joe. Let's see.
I believe that is the ball game. I think the ball hit the ground.
And it's a big win for the New York Bears. Head coach Walker and his team rightfully fired up as the Bears will win it 35-12. And Joe, did I speak too soon, or are they going to shake hands? Indeed, it's time for handshakes.
Yes, it is.
We have gone final in Hillburn. The Bears are 2-0 since joining the EFA, and it's a big win for them over the Brooklyn Pharaohs, 35-12. Joe, if you're the Bears, I think you have to feel really good about this one.
I think you do. Business as usual for the Bears. And again, early in the game, for the last time, we're going to bring it up. Brooklyn, on the very first drive of the game, had the opportunity to get that long touchdown. They did not. They punted it for negative yardage. The Bears immediately took advantage, went up and scoring early. And there was that moment where they scored on 4 consecutive possessions, Joe. The Bears were relentless. It was a good mix of run. It was a good mix of pass. And if you're the Pharaohs, first half was not kind to you. The second half, however, was much more kind. They played really good in the second half. The Bears defense, you can make an argument, were not great in the second half. But because they put a multi-score cushion between them and the Pharaohs, they were able to maintain that, keep the edge, and ultimately win by 3 scores. So if you're the Pharaohs, Heading into next game, much more of what you saw in the second half, which was a nice blend of run pass. And for the Bears, again, you built such an early lead, and I'm sure Coach Walker is going to look at his defense in the second half and say, hey, guys, there were times that you took your foot off of the accelerator. We can't do that against a good team that can put up points fast, have the opportunity to come back in the game. But, again, for the Bears, excellent win, strong start in the EFA, and definitely a statement victory here tonight in Hillburn.
And we are not done for the weekend here on the PDF Sports Network. Tomorrow at noon, it is Week 12 in the Vetera Liga. The Vetera Liga is the NFL of Finland, their top American professional football league. And in the final week of the regular season, the Helsinki Roosters will take on the Seinäjoki Crocodiles. That game kicks off tomorrow at noon, right back here on the PDF Sports Network YouTube channel. But until tomorrow, this has been Joe Foreman alongside Joe Calabrese. Both of us hope to be back later in the summer or perhaps a bit into the fall, Joe. I think summer ended in June. So next month, in just a couple of weeks, we'll be back here for the Bears game on September 12th. That is the first of 3 straight weekends that PDF will be in Hillburn. Be sure to tune in for those games. 3 straight weeks of Bears football here on PDF. But until next month, Joe Foreman alongside Joe Calabrese tonight. We thank you all for watching and enjoy the rest of your Saturday night.